This is Jeff of INNERFIT, where exceptional fitness begins within. And today I want to continue an impromptu talk concerning the SALT sessions that I began a week or so ago. Today I'm going to talk about blood pressure measurements and hypertension, and how it is determined that someone is suffering from hypertension or high blood pressure. There seems to be a great deal of ambiguity, uncertainty concerning the diagnosis of hypertension. But before I go into that, I want to clear up something that may have caused some confusion or uncertainty concerning the previous SALT session. When I talked about the ratio between potassium and sodium, salt, I want to make it clear that my intent was to stress upon the importance of salt's role in cardiac health, whereas salt and potassium is what causes the heart to beat. Every time the heart beats, salt and potassium exchanges place within the body. Salt is primarily located in the extracellular fluids around the cells. Our bodies are made of cells, as you know. And potassium is primarily located within the cell. And so every time the heart beats, salt and potassium exchanges places. And so that's the primary role of salt in salt's role in cardiac health. Now, one of the most notable symptoms of someone that has a low sodium level is delirium. So if you got some friends that are talking crazy, seem to be delirious, they could very well probably be delirious because they're probably not consuming enough of the proper salt. And once again, when I say the proper salt, I'm talking about salt like pink Himalayan salt crystals, which still has all of the nutrients and trace minerals in it that salt is intended to have in its natural state, as opposed to Morton's processed table salt, which has been processed to remove those trace minerals and the magnesium and the phosphorus. So you only end up with two components, sodium and chloride. So that's, and one other thing, when I talked about edema, a swelling in the lower extremities, and once again we're getting back to the salt exchanging places with potassium at the cellular level. Okay, what causes edema? And this is an impromptu session. I'm speaking from memory, from research that I've done years ago. But nevertheless, what the point I want to make is that salt does not exchange places properly with the potassium. It remains in the cell, and it holds that fluid. It remains in the extracellular fluid, and it holds that fluid in the outside of the cells, which causes swelling or edema in the lower extremities, ankles and legs, and it progresses up the body, and it can cause cardiac problems with swelling around the heart. So those are a few items that I wanted to provide some clarity to concerning the previous SALT session. Now, I want to talk about blood pressure. I want people to understand. A lot of people don't understand, and I understand. If you're not in the medical profession, you're not going to have certain knowledge. You have no real need to know certain things that pertain to those that work in the medical profession. So when we talk about blood pressure, we're looking at two numbers. We're looking at the top number, which is called the systolic, and the bottom number, which is called the diastolic. And for decades or so, it's been believed that blood pressure, the perfect blood pressure, or the ideal blood pressure, would be 120/80. That's kind of being thrown out the window now, because there are a lot of people that function with blood pressures maybe 110/80, 110/70, and some lower than that, and they claim to be their normal baseline blood pressure. Some people are health conscious to the degree to where they would know that. Nevertheless, the top number is the systolic, the bottom number is the diastolic, and what I want people to understand is that top number indicates that the heart is contracting. The bottom number indicates that the heart is relaxing. In other words, the top number tells us how hard the heart is working to pump blood throughout your body, and the bottom number lets us know whether the heart is getting any rest between heartbeats. So the concern there is, if you have a blood pressure that may be 170 over 100, that tells us that your heart is working extremely hard to pump blood throughout your body and is not getting any rest in between beats. In other words, that tells us that you are a candidate for a stroke or a heart attack. If your blood pressure is constantly elevated to that degree. Especially that bottom number. That bottom number, as I said, it indicates that your heart is not getting any rest. So that's the first thing that I want you to understand concerning blood pressures. The top number tells us how hard the heart is working. The bottom number lets us know whether the heart is getting any rest in between heartbeats. Blood pressure. Now, in order to be diagnosed as being hypertensive, or to be diagnosed with hypertension or high blood pressure, it takes more than one reading to determine that a person has high blood pressure or is hypertensive. Some people come in and they have a blood pressure that's elevated, maybe 170 over 90, and all of a sudden they believe that they have hypertension. That, as I said, that cannot be determined from one blood pressure reading. It is believed that the protocol, I guess I should say, for determining whether someone is hypertensive or suffers from high blood pressure is a blood pressure of 140 over 90 is how one would be determined to be hypertensive. But still, that's not based upon one reading. In order to diagnose someone as suffering from high blood pressure, you need multiple readings at varying times of the day for multiple days. And what I'm saying is, your blood pressure is going to give a different reading. It's going to give a different reading depending upon the time of day. Your blood pressure when you rise in the morning is going to possibly be lower. It's going to be a little higher maybe at midday, and it's going to be different again in the evening and then into the night. So, in order to diagnose someone as being hypertensive, you're going to need multiple readings done at varying times of the day for multiple days. And if it is determined that your blood pressure over that time span is 140 over 90 or greater, you have hypertension, you have high blood pressure. So that's how one is diagnosed as being hypertensive. Now, I'm speaking from memory from when I used to work in a setting where that was the common protocol for determining if someone was hypertensive. And I'm assuming that that's still the case today. I haven't heard anything different. I haven't read anything different. So that's it for today's impromptu salt session, salt talk. My name is Jeff of INNERFIT, where exceptional fitness begins. Within, if you have any questions, please contact me here. If you enjoyed the information that's being provided, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you would be so kind to make a donation to our continued efforts, it would be greatly appreciated. Have a wonderful day.